It is 6 o'clock on Wednesday, the 20th of November, 2019. Good evening and thank you for tuning in to the English edition of Ora News. My name is Oliver, bringing you the only daily update of the local Albanian news, translated into English. We begin tonight with the President of the Republic who has never really hidden his sympathy for Sali Berisha until now. This was on full display today when the head of state decided to make an exception. President Meta welcomed the former Prime Minister outside the walls of the institution, a gesture that is justified by Northern Albanian tradition. In a statement to the media after their meeting, Berisha said, "In this meeting with the President, we discussed the crisis that Edi Rama and his mafia created together in their futile efforts to capture the entire justice system along with Albania's governing body, which is legally guaranteed by the Albanian constitution. This is a crucial and decisive moment for every Albanian citizen. The media has played an important role in all of this. They have informed people more than anything else during these last 4 years as we fight for justice reform, even more than for EU integration. It is our duty to tell the truth to Albanians about how this reform is boldly bringing about its capture by the Albanian drug mafia," said Berisha. The two notorious politicians spent approximately 35 minutes with one another, long enough for the former Prime Minister to come out on arraignment with the Justice Appointment Council Chair Ardian Dovani, as indicated by President Meta just a day ago. He even threw the same accusations against Prime Minister Edi Rama. Reform and integration have been stalled for 2 years. Those who destroyed the constitutional and Supreme Courts have effectively left the country without the rule of law. This is Edi Rama, said Berisha. Berisha also argued why RTV cannot be a member of the Constitutional Court and even talked about the dissolution of Parliament, stating, "In my opinion, if Parliament deserves closure, then it's the closure of its doors it deserves." The conversation surrounding Parliament's dissolution has occupied a major part of the debate in the last 2 days. The two former allies have not discussed the issue for 4 years. However, Berisha spoke openly about what he would have done if he had been president. The former Prime Minister said that interest in the Constitutional Court relates to the concerns surrounding the current governmental body. This was also iterated in the report issued by the Venice Commission. Earlier today, Meta also met with former President Mejdani and is expected to sit down with both Alfred Mosiu and Bajmir Topi. Next up tonight, it seems that the majority is determined to dismiss the President of the Republic, Ilir Meta. Today, a group of Socialist Party MPs urged the investigative committee to review the clash between the head of state, Parliament, and the Justice Appointments Council over the appointment of members to the Constitutional Court. According to Socialists, President Meta has seriously violated the Constitution by decreeing Marsida Jafilari. Marsida Jafilari cannot be a member of the Constitutional Court. The right of a constitutional judge to exercise his or her duties has been violated in this case. The constitutional obligation to fulfill the oath of a judge on the Constitutional Court has also been violated. The functionality of the Constitutional Court's decision-making has also been violated. Even the right of the subjects to have a timely constitutional due process has been condemned, said Bala. Ilir Meta's dismissal has become a major target for the Socialists, but the President has reminded them that it only takes one decree and the Parliament can be dissolved. In response, Bala said, "The Assembly has the right to dismiss the President of the Republic when he openly talks about dissolving Parliament." According to the majority, the commitment of the head of state to meet with former presidents is not meant to solve the political crisis, but rather to save himself. The inquiry commission for President Meta's dismissal is expected to be extended into next year, as it will take more time than the December 8th deadline to complete. Moving on, the state police have launched a money laundering probe into the dealings of former Vora Mayor Agim Kaimaku. Through a request by police, an investigation is underway to verify the amounts held in Kaimaku's bank accounts. Another request was sent to the mortgage company to ascertain his assets in real estate and business. Meanwhile, on Wednesday, the Tirana prosecution sent a letter to the notary chamber demanding that the police and prosecution be notified if Kaimaku appears for power of proxy. According to the prosecution, if notaries fail to notify authorities in the event of his appearance, then they too will be held liable. Agim Kaimaku continues to be wanted by state police since November 9th after charges of forgery were placed against him. Meanwhile, more than 10 operations have failed to even capture him. For this reason, the Internal Affairs and Appeals Service at the Ministry of Interior have begun the vetting of police forces as suspicions of decommissioning operations have raised concerns. Police received a court order on November 9th for his arrest, while 7 other individuals have been identified, each suspected to have deconspired with police. In addition to the police, there are also employees of the Technical Secretariat who have been made aware of the prosecution and court. Referring to the TIM system data, we learned that the former mayor does not appear to have left Albanian territory. Kaimaku, who is already declared wanted, is charged on 3 offenses, including abuse of duty, falsification of forms, and exercising functions after dismissal. The prosecution's suspicions are that Kaimaku signed the dismissal of 2 vice chairs after the Central Election Commission lifted his mandate back on November 1st. Well, new data out of the Ministry of Finance shows that Albania's capital holds over 30% of the total liabilities of local governments, thereby making the municipality of Tirana the largest debtor in the country. The capital has around 2 billion lek worth of arrears, around 6.2 billion lek in total, accounting for all municipalities in the country. The local government's arrears remain one of the main concerns regarding the state budget and is pushing locals to take measures. At the same time, the Rama government has seen an opportunity to eliminate these obligations, as it is up to the municipalities to choose an administrator who can deal directly with the problem. Tirana seems to be the most likely case of applying this format, but beyond that, experts suggest that municipalities and their mayors should not borrow or increase expenditures that exceed their term limit. Some even call for a stipulation by law to prevent excessive spending. Moreover, based on information published by the Ministry of Finance and Economy, about 47% of the stock of arrears is represented by investments, 21% by goods and services, 18% by court decisions, and 11% by other liabilities. Although there has been a large increase in taxes and fees by the government, the debt compared to the previous year has decreased by around 120 million lek. Now on to more news. Next year's budget will focus on the settlement of liabilities for concessionary obligations. During the reporting to the Economic and Finance Committee, Minister Anila Denai stated that in order to maintain the level of debt next year, there will be no new projects in infrastructure. According to the Finance Minister, the impact of PPPs on the state budget is projected to decrease in the coming years. Priority will be given to the Milat Baldrin project, for which 500 million lek is foreseen to be dispersed over 3 years. Meanwhile, Denai stated that some of the amendments that provide for more control and caution in the selection of projects awarded with PPPs would soon be adopted. And now on to our last story of the evening. The municipality of Tirana has offered social housing to those unable to financially provide themselves shelter. But for those in the area of Shkoza who have already benefited from it, they say they still live in difficult conditions and misery. These dwellings, unlike what their nice exteriors show, are in fact affected by a humid interior. Rita Maksuti lives in a house with 3 other members, including 2 young children. The recent September earthquake caused much of the plaster in her apartment to break off. She has to pay 9,000 lek a month to keep her apartment, which she cannot afford due to unemployment. The economic and social conditions are almost the same from house to house. The situation is even worse during the winter season when heavy rainfall seeps inside the dwellings. But apart from the poor conditions, many of the residents also warn that they will not be renewing their contracts. And that's the news across the country today. Thank you so much for watching our English edition this evening, and be sure to join us again every Monday to Saturday at 6 p.m. for the latest news from Albania. Once again, on behalf of Ora News, thank you and have a good night.